such a big marathon?
It's tremendous. You know, I feel like I've been second so many times in my career and just, you know, always this close. So, you know, I just am so thrilled that I was able to pull it out here. And again, in a city like this, the crowd support was incredible. You know, you go through different areas and it's just like booming, you know, how loud it is. And it really picks you up and picks your spirits up. And, but at the same time, just try to relax. And then when I make the move, be decisive. So that was my goal.
You said you haven't seen your dad yet. He's from Maywood. What is he going to say to you when you do see him being the champion in his hometown?
You know, he's just going to tell me what he always does. You know, that he loves me and he's proud of me, and you know, that's all my parents have ever done. Is, you know, love me unconditionally and always supported me no matter what. And you know, today's no different, win or lose. So it's going to be great to see him. So I got to go find him.
First American men's champion in 15 years, Galen. Thank you so much. I want to bring in the man that you at least succeeded in that title, Kale Kanuchi, the 4-time Chicago winner. What does it feel like to see Galen win as an American here?
Wow, it's a huge win for his career for the United States. We are all proud of him. I think he deserved it. He's a winner, and he showed it today. We are so happy for him.
You won this course 4 times. Explain to the people at home how hard it is to actually win here.
Well, it's very difficult to win. I think Mr. Kari Pinkowski brought, usually he brings a good field, tough competition all around, and you have to be very, very good to win it. I think Galen is going to win it more times, I hope.
As many as 4, you think?
Probably more. He has a bright future.
All right, guys, thank you so much, Kale Kanuchi, and this year's champion, Galen Rupp. Congratulations. Enjoy the win. Guys, back to you, the 2 latest American winners here in Chicago. Welcome back to the 40th Annual Bank of America Chicago Marathon. I'm here with the men's winner, the first American in 15 years, Galen Rupp. Galen, you crossed the finish line all alone, the first American in 15 years to win this race. Explain that moment.
It's just incredible, you know. You train so hard year in and year out, day in and day out, and to have a race like this where it all comes together and be able to win in a city that really is such a special place to me, given that my dad grew up here. You know, words can't describe the feeling across the line, seeing my family, my coach. I mean, this isn't just me. There's so many people as part of the Nike Oregon project. You know, I felt like I've always had such great support from the Nike family, my coach Alberto Salazar, obviously my wife, kids. They all sacrifice so much, and it's for all of them. It's just a great day.
Take me back out on the course after that 35th kilometer, 36th kilometer. You're with Abel, the defending champion, and you made a break. Why'd you decide to do it at that moment?
You know, I hadn't really planned out when I was going to go, but I definitely wanted to wait, you know, until at least 20 miles, 22 miles, you know, the longer the better. I made the mistake in the past, I think, of going a little too hard too soon, and, you know, you still got a long ways to go, you know, several miles. So I really wanted to wait, but, you know, I kind of just felt a little gap pulling away, and at that point it was like, you got to put the hammer down, just drive to the finish. So that was my plan.
This is only your fourth marathon ever. I mean, this is relatively new to you after your great finish in Boston. How does it feel to actually make your big win here in Chicago in such a big marathon?
It's tremendous. You know, I feel like I've been second so many times in my career and just, you know, always this close. So, you know, I just am so thrilled that I was able to pull it out here. And again, in a city like this, the crowd support was incredible. You know, you go through different areas and it's just like booming, you know, how loud it is. And it really picks you up and picks your spirits up. And, but at the same time, just try to relax, and then when I make the move, be decisive. So that was my goal.
You said you haven't seen your dad yet. He's from Maywood. What is he going to say to you when you do see him being the champion in his hometown?
You know, he's just going to tell me what he always does. You know, that he loves me and he's proud of me. And, you know, that's all my parents have ever done is, you know, love me unconditionally and always supported me no matter what. And, you know, today's no different, win or lose. So it's going to be great to see him. So I got to go find him.
First American men's champion in 15 years. Galen, thank you so much. I want to bring in the man that you at least succeeded in that title, Kalek Kanuchi, the four-time Chicago winner. What does it feel like to see Galen win as an American here?
Wow, it's a huge win for his career, for the United States. We are all proud of him. I think he deserved it. He's a winner, and he showed it today. We are so happy for him.
You won this course 4 times. Explain to the people at home how hard it is to actually win here.
Well, it's very difficult to win. I think Mr. Karpinkowski brought, usually he brings a good field, tough competition all around, and you have to be very, very good to win it. I think Galen is going to win it more times, I hope.
As many as 4, you think?
Probably more. He has a bright future.
All right, guys, thank you so much, Kalek Kanuchi, and this year's champion, Galen Rupp. Congratulations. Enjoy the win. Guys, back to you, the 2 latest American winners here in Chicago.
This station is not available in your country.
The top American finisher in last year's Bank of America Chicago Marathon is in our studio. Diego Estrada is here. Diego, welcome to the show. How are you?
Good, thank you.
Did I get your name right and the title right? Were you the top
you
American
didn't roll
finisher?
your R that good, but
Help me with
you
that.
got the title right.
Estrada?
Estrada.
You know, but I think if I say that, then it sounds like I'm trying too hard.
But I like it if you try hard.
Okay, let's. You would. You run marathons. Okay, fine. Diego Estrada is here. Welcome to the show and congratulations on your past success. As the top American finisher last year, what place did you finish in then?
Last year I finished 8th.
And you are running again this year, right? Against virtually the same field. Will some of the top racers from last year be here again?
Yeah, they brought in the defending champ, and I think they've sprinkled a few higher caliber athletes. We have the world record holder as well, and we have the American champion Galen Rupp, who had the bronze medal in Rio at the Rio Olympics. So it's going to be a tougher field in my opinion.
This is about as good as it gets, huh?
Yeah, this is basically an Olympics for us.
Do you see the Chicago course as easy, hard, or soft? I mean, where is it in the continuum of marathon courses?
I think it's right up there with one of the fastest in the world. At some point it had the world record. So I think nothing's easy when it's a marathon distance, but the course itself, if you break it down, any segment of it could be set up for a fast race.
How soon in the race do you know that you're going to have a good race?
I say around 20 miles. Because before that, everything is just like...
It's the same race? Really? I mean, so really, is that where the race is made for you guys? I get it, the closer to the finish line you are. But those of us who've run a couple of marathons can tell at 5 miles if they're going to have it today or not. Not you?
Well, no, I've had days, I've had workouts, like you don't show up to a marathon empty-handed. You simulate what you're going to go through, and I've gone through the motions opening miles. I feel like garbage. Some days I feel amazing, but I truly don't know till I get to a certain point where you catch a second wind, and you get like an energy rush, or you blow up.
And that's about 20 miles for you.
That's the sweet spot, because that'll be about roughly an hour and 40 minutes. So you'll know what you're made of by that point.
You know what is discouraging to me about the layout of the Chicago Marathon is you go north, as you know, up to Wrigley Field, and then you go out west, and then you go south. And you know that you've got to turn around at some point and head back north towards Navy Pier, in other words, Grant Park, in order to finish. And it just seems like you keep running south. And you go, dude, I want to turn around like right now. And that's about in the 20-mile range where you're heading in the wrong direction.
Yeah, anytime you're running a road race and it starts and finishes in the same point, you're just looking at the sky, looking for landmarks, looking for a big building.
Give me a
And when you're
turnaround.
running away from it, it is discouraging. But once you get sight of it, it's like rejuvenating.
Diego, what's your fastest time then?
Here, Chicago last year was the first marathon I was able to finish. I ran 2:13:52, 54.
So what is that per mile then?
That was roughly, man, I'm bad at math. I run on kilometers. But that was about maybe a
Your manager's
407.
here. Was that 4 something? It would be under 5, right? Yeah. I mean, do you have any sense of how awe-inspiring that is? I think it's lost on some people because they don't have any sense of miles or kilometers or minutes per mile. But those of us that just ran a little track in high school know what a 5-minute mile feels like. To run 26 of those faster than that in a row is something humanity just normally doesn't get to do.
Yeah, no, you think that 5 miles is impressive, and then once I analyze everything, I see the world record being like 439 miles, and I'm like, jeez. So yeah, I catch the same feeling that people...
Stop that. I want you to enjoy your gift. And really, I don't know. I just said gift. Maybe you would disagree with that. Is it a gift? Is it a talent? What blend of good fortune and hard work do you represent?
I think it's a combination of everything. You gotta have some talent to get started, but once you get going, it's just hard work. I mean, like they say, hard work pays off, and it really does in the marathon. You can't fake one. I can't roll out of a couch and sign up for Chicago.
Yeah, but you walked in here with a Starbucks bag.
Chicken sandwich too.
I about grabbed it out of your hand. What are you, crazy, man? You can't be eating that stuff today.
Hey, if the furnace is hot enough, it burns anything, and I eat so many calories, like I wouldn't be shocked if I consume 3 people's worth a day.
Really?
And sometimes I'm not even hungry, but my coach gets on my case to eat.
How tall are you and what do you weigh?
I'm about 5'11", and I weigh about 135.
You look stronger, more fit. I don't know. You look stronger than somebody 5'11", 135. I'm 6 foot. I weigh about 190. So we're about the same height. I have about 55 pounds on you. I would not have guessed that. I would have guessed you were a little heavier. Maybe.
Well, you know, I grew up doing some manual labor with my dad in his company. So, you know, I've been heavily involved, and I'm also obsessed with the idea that to be a distance runner, you don't have to be skinny, you have to be muscular.
Yeah, strong.
So I do a fair bit of lifting here and there, and
Yeah.
I mean, I'm also 27. I want to look good. I don't want to look skinny.
Yeah, no kidding. When did you realize that you were going to be a good runner?
I mean, I didn't know much. I wasn't big into the internet. Back in the day, we had dial-up at home when I was 13, back in 2002, 2001. And so I didn't have an idea of the outside world, but we went to PE class and we had a state test, and our PE teacher basically told us that nobody could go under 5 minutes for the mile. And I ran 4:56, 4:59, and I was like, that's not bad. And they were very impressed. And then from there on, there was a rumor going around that some kid could break 5, and then my high school coach, I told him and he didn't believe it, so I just joined the team just to kind of prove that I could break 5 minutes in the
You
mile.
weren't on the track team at the time.
No, we didn't have a club or track team at the time. It was a public school with no track.
Wow. You went to Flagstaff?
I grew up in Salinas, California. Now I live in Flagstaff, Arizona.
And where did you go to school?
LaSalle High School.
And college?
College, Northern Arizona University.
How did you do there? Did you win the NCAA?
I didn't win because we had a... I can't really complain, I'm foreign myself, but we had a wave of foreign Kenyan athletes coming, and I finished top 5 at least 8 times, but I could never get the win. High as I could was second. The competition was just so beyond what it is now. But yeah, no, I was competitive, and I'm fortunate enough that I still hold multiple records at Northern Arizona, which, I mean, if anybody knows, that's in Flagstaff. We have a lot of Olympians come and train there.
Yeah, no kidding. Are you going to try out for the Olympics then too? Or are you always trying to get a qualifying time in? How does that work?
Yeah, so we'll have the trials in 2020. They haven't predetermined the date yet, but that'll be roughly 6 months out. You get a qualifier, which the window just opened. So if, granted, I finish Chicago under, I believe, 218 or something
you
like
got
that.
that.
I hope so. I'll have a marathon qualifier, and then we can dream from there on. But it's a selection process, which is what I like. Anybody who finishes in the first 3 and has the time gets to go to Tokyo.
Shortly after you head north and turn south, about, 5 or 6 miles in, I got the map here, after about the 7th mile, I'll be standing there waving, so look for me, okay?
Just be loud, because I'll need it.
Diego Estrada is the guy in our studio right now, and let's wish them all well. I hope the weather's going to be good for you guys, and I hope you have a great race. Thanks for coming in and saying hi.
Well, thank you, and I hope everybody has a good day.
Congratulations in advance and good luck. Dr. Mike Sirigliano is on a phone line, and he's been following this story too. Doctor, this is John Williams, and you're on WGN Radio. How are you?
I'm fine, John. How are you this fine day?
I'm doing fine. So all the physicians I'm hearing from, in fact, we had another doctor in the studio yesterday who was here not for that reason at all, but offhandedly I asked him what does he make of the tax, and he was enthusiastically for it. Where are you on this?
Well, I'm from Philadelphia. We already have a soda tax, and it has raised millions of dollars, which are being used for early education and other programs that are improving the quality of life for lots of people of all races. And the bottom line is, as a physician, the easiest way to get calories into your body is to put lots of sugar in something liquid and shove it down your throat. So the whole concept of a beverage tax, in my opinion, is in the best interest of the people. We have an obesity epidemic here, and everyone knows, I would hope, that if you're obese, it increases the risk of diabetes, heart attack, stroke, and just about every other malady you can think of. And in these in this era of healthcare reform, and everyone's talking about Obamacare and Trumpcare and every other kind of care, no one's talking about how to prevent disease so that we don't have to spend $10,000 a day for someone in an intensive care unit.
Yeah.
So this is a simple way to incentivize people to maybe not do sugar-laden so
2.5 minutes gone by in the second quarter. So the Giants in front by a score of 9-7 and have an automatic first down. And Mike just mentioned a couple of moments ago the Orleans Darkwood touchdown. That was all Orleans Darkwood. He made a great cut inside and really just went in untouched, 23 yards, and he has 6 carries, 58 yards so far. And Wayne Goldman, the rookie out of Clemson, even though he has only 2 carries, they are for 19 yards, and he has looked sharp, and he just got the ball again and picked up about 8 yards on first down. So the Giants' running game, which has been non-existent so far this year, has been pretty good so far today. As they're, let's see, if Darkwood's got 58, Goldman's got about 35. So, you're talking about 90 yards rushing between those guys. So,
thinking big thoughts so you don't have to.
Found one.
Here's John Williams.
No. And I don't love it either. That's the problem. It's 109. This is John. Lots of ground to cover again in the next 2 hours, all the way up until Rokan and Anna DeVlanta stroll into the studio. Good Lord, this is a good time to be in Chicago. I'm not talking about the weather. But if you're a sports fan, you've got a lot on your ticket here, don't you? We'll talk a little bit about that. And Diego Estrada, the top American finisher in the marathon last year, will be strolling by our studio. I think he's going to jog in around 1:45. At 2 o'clock, we'll talk to Jane Kirtley. She's a professor of media ethics. She's been on this show many times, and I wonder what she makes of the president's criticism of the media these days. It's just so super fake. It's so super biased, and the president said that maybe the Senate should investigate the media for fake news. On Facebook yesterday, I said, whatever you think of that, somebody needs to tell me what fake news is. And that's not a rhetorical question. And King John on Facebook, there's a thread there you can be part of. It's an interesting dialogue. I appreciate your thoughts. I did not try to make that a dumping ground for criticism of the president. I literally want to know, what is fake news? You'd think on its surface fake news would be news, information that's not accurate, a story that's not truthful. You get the feeling the president doesn't mean that exactly. So we were asking about that. But I wonder what Jane thinks about more criticism or analysis, maybe even investigations of the media for the way they're handling the president. That seems to be what he wants. And the head of the Senate Intelligence Committee that's doing one of these investigations, there's, 4 of them in play. He said, yeah, there will be egg on their face if we find out that they did not report accurately. I don't know what that means either. So we'll talk about that in our 2 o'clock hour. Also in the 2 o'clock hour, the bright side of life. You get a chance to call in, tell us some good news while you're smiling. We will smile with you. So let's do this first, Elif. The Blackhawks highlight reel from last night. Oh my God. There I was, like many Americans, watching Project Runway with my 2 dogs and my wife and my son. And we were enjoying all of that. I had forgotten that Thursday night was the debut of the Blackhawks season. I didn't remember that the Blackhawks were on. And so then I got in my car a little later on last night, and I turned on the radio, and there's John Weideman, and he was just giddy. And he said, 9 goals scored so far. And I thought he meant that the score was 5-3. Maybe, let's see, 5-4 would be 9, wouldn't it? 6-3. I thought that there was a lot of goals scored. He was happy about that. I didn't realize he was saying that we were scoring our 9th goal until I heard him then do the play-by-play of the 10th goal we scored. I pounded on my new dashboard. It doesn't have a CD player, but it did come with a radio. And son of a gun, we scored 10 goals last night. Hey, Steve Bertrand, did you hear that the Blackhawks scored 10 goals last night?
Well, yeah, it was opening night last night.
Holy smokes! So Thursday, you've got the Blackhawks. It would be last night. 10 goals scored. One of the more exciting, I don't even know if exciting is the right word, fun games you'll ever hear. And then today, the Cubs play the first game of the NLDS. And then tomorrow, the second game of the NLDS, plus the Blackhawks play again, plus Northwestern football. What a fun Saturday for Chicagoans. Then Sunday, you've got the Chicago Marathon with 1 million spectators, nice weather, 40,000 runners, one of whom will be the mayor's son. And the normal NFL slate. And then Monday night, you've got the Bears on WGN TV, and the Cubs in Game 3 coming home, and you've got the Blackhawks for their third game of the season. So that's about as good a 5 days on earth as you can get. But how do you top this?
Patrick came behind the net to Hartman in front. He scores the first goal of the season. Sod picks it up on a 3-on-1 the other way. Over the Penguin line to Panic to Sod, but he scores! Kane over the Penguin line, right wing to the circle, Spinorama, put it across the swamp. He scores! Blocker save, here's on to the rebound. He scores! Line behind the defense down the right wing. Shoots and scores! Quick pass over to Hartman to Kane over the Penguin line. Down the right wing, moves it back, and he scores! Penguins come to full strength to Jan Muir, a high slot fire, save made, rebound, scores! Shot by Smolky, scores! Taves racing away with a puck over the Penguin line to the right circle, put it in front, side, he scores! Shoots, Murray the save, rebound, scores! Seabrook his first of the year!
So that's what it sounded like last night. There's 2 hours of hockey in about 45 seconds. I called John Weideman, the play-by-play voice of the Blackhawks there this morning. I said, hey, John, how's it going? He said, I'm doing fine. What? I mean, that was a month's worth. So we got that going for us. Did you hear the Cam Newton story? Just trying to get perspective on, we'll just talk one more sports story here. Cam Newton's the quarterback of the Carolina Panthers. He had his media day. They were asking him about questions about the team, the performance, stuff like that. By the way, is that Pete McMurray on line 7? Yes or no?
I was trying to get him on line 7.
But that's not. Okay. If he shows up, let me know. So, I don't know, Steve. This is the way ABC, let me just tell it this way. Well, Aleph, let's start with, don't worry about Pete. Let's do ABC and NBC and CBS and CNN and your mom and everybody else is reporting the Cam Newton story kind of like this.
Well, we are already seeing the fallout from Carolina Panthers quarterback Cam Newton's controversial and sexist comments to a female reporter. A major sponsor is now pulling its advertising
I was hearing the setup for this thing, and I thought, oh my God, what did this man say? What could he have said to generate all of this heat and controversy? And then everybody cuts to, well, let's play the short version. So then everybody plays the thing he said. There's a gaggle of about 30 reporters. They're asking him questions. His Q&A with the media goes about 12 minutes, maybe 15. And in the middle of that is when one of the reporters, a female, asked him about the physicality of the routes that one of the wide receivers is running. He's really trying to get extra yards, she said. Don't you appreciate that as a quarterback? And everybody's playing Cam Newton's response.
It's funny to hear a female talk about routes. Like, it's funny.
And that's the soundbite that you hear. So now a sponsor's pulling. He had to go online and post a video, which was an apology. He apologized to women of the world. And he should apologize because it's such a weird thing for him to say. That is, there is nothing novel anymore about a woman asking a question to an athlete in a locker room anymore or at a press conference. Women have been in the locker room for a while. When you hear that voice, it doesn't strike me as peculiar that a woman's asking a sophisticated football question. A woman did play-by-play of the NFL Sunday night one game this year. So that tide has come in a long time ago. It struck me as him trying to make a joke, it falling flat, it being inappropriate, and then the press conference went on, by the way. The rest of the questions were about routes and teammates and preparation and the NFL stuff. Afterwards, he had a discussion with the reporter, and then she tweeted that that's not funny, it's me doing my job. And so Cam Newton's really getting beat up about this. And I asked some folks here, I said, well, do you think that the heat that he is taking is deserved? And to the person, everybody says yes. And I'm a little bit of an outlier on this. He shouldn't have said it. If some sponsors don't want to associate with him, that's fine. But Lord, we've heard worse. And I just didn't think this was as spectacular as I thought it was going to be. In fact, I'll do this for you. I'll pause here. But just because I have the time and the patience, and maybe you do too. What's the matter, Steve?
I think the sponsor should dump him because it was really a dumb thing to say.
You mean,
it's a dumb thing to say.
Right.
It's not, it doesn't seem to be in character with him at all.
No, it failed in every sense. It wasn't funny. It wasn't an interesting observation because it was inaccurate, and it's sexist. I mean, there was no upside to that, right? But if you listen to that whole press conference, you realize that Cam Newton is a pretty glib, fun, interesting, intelligent, loquacious guy. And if you just listen to the 20 seconds before and the 20 seconds after, I think you get a much different feel for this comment than the way it's being presented. I'll give you that chance in a minute. He deserves some heat. The question is, how much heat does Cam Newton deserve? We'll pick up some phone lines in a minute. Thanks for the text, Ella. Play ball, celebrate the Cubs with team memorabilia, exclusive books, lots more. Go to ChicagoTribuneStore.com today. Amita Health knows you like no one else. Did you know that? The one who's there for you always. Lifelong bonds that make the difference. That's a friend, the one that knows what you need and when you need it. At Amita Health, they always put you first. Amita Health includes 9 hospitals, 6 immediate care centers, 78 outpatient locations in the west and northwest suburbs. Visit AmitaHealth.org/YOU or call 855-MY-AMITA in sickness and in health. Karen, I'll take you before I play the soundbite. What did you want to say? You're on WGN.
Hey, thank you for taking my call, and happy Friday.
Yeah, you too.
Yeah. Anyway, he didn't have a mean smile. He didn't sound arrogant. He had a teasing sort of way about it. And I'm an old person. I wasn't offended. My sister-in-law, may she rest in peace, loved football. And, even she who knows everything about or knew everything about it would have not been offended. But, are we taking ourselves too seriously? Again, I looked at his face, and I've seen it run a couple times. It wasn't mean. He had a grin. He had a... I don't know. I like to think that we could lighten it up a little bit. I'm used to seeing women on, the sports report and that sort of thing. And, I don't know. I'd had to have seen her face, but I wasn't offended by it. And, could they have laughed it off and handled it differently? Yeah.
Okay, that's Karen. Interesting. Karen, thanks for the call. But John on line 2 wants to say you're on WGN. Hey, John.
This isn't John. This is Joan.
Joan. Hey, Joan, go ahead. You're on the air.
Well, I just want to say that it's just one small thing that was said, but there have been millions of small things that have been said over the years, and I'm kind of sick of it. I don't like being put second. I can do anything that a guy could do other than muscular-wise, and I'm just sick of it. So it's just one small thing, and he shouldn't have said it.
I appreciate your call, Joan. It came on the same day, too, that Harvey Weinstein was revealed to have been a serial groper, it sounds like, or assaulter or something. I don't know what box we're going to put him in, but I appreciated Teddy Greenstein's tweet yesterday, which said sort of, hey, ladies, I'm a progressive, and I didn't know how bad it is. I'm sorry to see this stuff. And he was referring to these sorts of comments and that sort of behavior in Weinstein's case. So let's just, to just get some perspective. Maybe this enforces what you think. Maybe it changes how you feel that moment was played, but nobody's playing more than 10 seconds of it. Here's more than 10 seconds of it, a little bit before and a little bit after, so you get a sense of what the room was like when Cam Newton responded to that question.
Still a long season. Still got games and games to go. We're just trying to find ways to win football games. Completion percentages for me is irrelevant. The most important statistic in all of sports is the win and loss column.
Not knowing how close he is to coming back, just seeing Ryan Khalil back on the field, what does that do for you in this offense that you see him progressing?
I always got to tease him. I felt like only today he kept giving praise to his brother. Good job, Matt. Like, geez, dude, you can say this at home. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, he's such a leader for us, and not only him, but Greg too. for everybody that's hurt to, to come back and show their faces in the locker room, it's big for us, especially for the young guys as well.
Yeah, I know you take a lot of pride in seeing your receivers play well. Devin Funchess has seemed to really embrace the physicality of his routes and getting those extra yards. Does that give you a little bit of an enjoyment to see him kind of truck sticking people out there?
It's funny to hear a female talk about routes. Like, it's funny. But fun is coming along, man. We're gonna. This is a big game for him because of him being from Detroit, and I know he wants this win extremely bad, and just to see his growth over the years. Completely different player.
Okay, so there's kind of that's what the press conference felt like. That was the reaction in the room. Nobody laughed. There was a terrible pregnant pause, and then it, at least in real time, went on. Our texts include this: "Hey John, I'm a female, and I just want to scream, lighten up, Francis." From 312, "You're not an outlier, John. It was a stupid comment. He should have owned up to it right away, but please, the PC police are way overboard." From the 630 area code, "As usual, I agree with you, John. I just didn't understand why it was such a big deal." That's from Teresa. "Hey, John, the President of the United States gets away with more than Cam Newton every time he opens his mouth." To me, here's the parallel between what Cam Newton said and one of the parallels you could draw with what President Trump did. Everybody lost their lunch. They didn't lose their lunch, but the word I'm thinking of I can't say. Everybody went cuckoo bananas when President Trump was shooting basketball shots with paper towels, lobbing them out to hurricane victims in Puerto Rico. And I said, let's pick our battles, guys. That was a bad visual, but it wasn't a bad gesture. He was just playfully interacting with fans, and they all loved it. So let's keep in perspective how that felt in that room. You'll have plenty of opportunity to beat up on Donald Trump. Let's not borrow some. And it's the same way.
He will try everything that is legal. And underwater treadmill's great if you've got the money to go buy it. How many people have?
Right, and an altitude chamber in your home and running. I mean, these are amazing tactics, but they appear to be paying off as it relates to Galen Rupp.
Ed, you've been in American distance running for 40 years. Have you ever seen an underwater treadmill? I've never even seen one.
I have seen an underwater treadmill.
How many are there in the USA?
Well, the underwater treadmills that I've seen are more for rehab purposes, not for running fast. They're for people who are coming out major leg injuries, and then they get in and they gradually walk. But what he has is at a totally different level. And what an amount of work that this young man has done to put himself in this position right now. He's making one of the final turns. He's got a couple more turns to go. And he has just blown this field away, running consecutive 430 miles over the last little bit. He's got less than 400 meters to go now as he runs up the last little incline. He waited, he was patient, and then when the time came, 430 miles, one after the other, to completely obliterate this field.
Do you know what? It's many, many years since any World Marathon major was won by a non-African-born athlete. This is a legendary day for the sport of distance running, and it will raise so much hope in the hearts of non-African athletes, actually, that they can be challenged, they can be beaten. The Africans have played into his hands today. I don't think they've run that smart a race. They haven't really tested him over the marathon distance. They've tested him over 8 miles, maybe, and over that sort of distance, Galen's probably the best in the world.
It's exciting to see.
So your conjecture is somebody should have taken the lead and pushed him earlier to test him.
The trouble is they've all got different managers, they all come from different training camps, so you don't get a team effort from anybody these days in the world of distance running. You know, it's a selfish sport. You train on your own, you do everything for yourself, you take the money home to your family.
And here he comes.
He can look over his shoulder all he wants. He's not going to see anybody because he is doing that work.
And this is, I think, the coming of age of Galen Rupp. This is not an Olympic trials domestic race. This is an international race of the very highest order. The world record holders in this race for the marathon and the half marathon. They've been blown away by this man.
Oh, there he goes. There's the mayor right there at the finish line to win it, to cheer him on. Galen Rupp, an American, the first American to win the Bank of America.
Major was won by a non-African-born athlete. This is a legendary day for the sport of distance running, and it will raise so much hope in the hearts of non-African athletes, actually, that they can be challenged, they can be beaten. The Africans have played into his hands today. I don't think they've run that smart a race. They haven't really tested him over the marathon distance. They've tested him over 8 miles, maybe, and over that sort of distance, Galen's probably the best in the world.
It's exciting to
So
see.
your conjecture is somebody should have taken the lead and pushed him earlier to test him.
The trouble is they've all got different managers, they all come from different training camps, so you don't get a team effort from anybody these days in the world of distance running. You know, it's a selfish sport. You train on your own, you do everything for yourself, you take the money home to your family.
And here he comes.
He can look over his shoulder all he wants. He's not going to see anybody because he is out at work.
And this is, I think, the coming of age of Galen Rupp. This is not an Olympic trials domestic race. This is an international race of the very highest order. The world record holders in this race from the marathon and the half marathon. They've been blown away by
Wow, there he goes. There's the mayor right there at the finish line to win it, to cheer him on. Galen Rupp, an American, the first American to win the Bank of America Chicago Marathon since 2002, and amazing win, amazing run.
History here today in Chicago.
And a personal best for Galen there too to boot. I reckon that was about 2:09:20 unofficially.
2:09:20. Ah, that beats him.
And he's got his wife and kids there meeting him.
30 seconds better, yeah.
Yes,
Than he did in
30 seconds
Boston.
better. Wow, congratulations. And here's Abel Karui, last year's champion.
And you know what? You know, we're criticizing, I guess, we're being hypercritical of one or two.